what can I say? I don't know what to say. For those of you who are Stephen King fans like I am, and I've been reading King's novels since they started coming out way back when, and The Stand was one of my all-time favorite novels that he's written. And now we have this other made-for-TV movie, or limited series, as they call it, like a pre-owned car. They did it again. But oh my goodness. Listen, I'm very disappointed. I was expecting something grander than what we saw in 94, because in 1994 there was a made-for-TV series also about the book of The Stand. And Stephen King wrote that screenplay, and it was very well done. I mean, it was a TV show, and it looks like a TV show. It doesn't look like a movie or anything, but you know what I mean. It's just like the TV, the way it was filmed and all that. But that's some great actors. And the characters, the way where they were portrayed was perfect because of the theme. The theme of the book, to me, anyway, I don't know, I could be wrong, but it was good versus evil. Right? The Stand. Two groups of people. Now, the world is devastated, is gone as we know it because of this viral super flu, and only a few people were immune. And across this country, across our country, only a few people were immune. So the storyline should adhere to that fact of good versus evil, because that's what it comes down to in the end. If you know the story, that's what it comes down to. Good versus evil. Okay. So I haven't been watching the new one really because what I saw of it just turned me off totally. And I'll give you examples. I'm gonna go into 2 or 3 characters. Now, you have James Marsden, who's portraying Stu Redman. If you know the story, Stu Redman, supposedly from Arnett, Texas. This guy looks like a banker from New York. I mean, believe me, I'm a New Yorker. I know a bunch of bankers, and that's what he reminds me of. Now, Gary Sinise, who played Stu Redman in the original 1994 TV movie, which is on YouTube, by the way. They're playing it, although they cut it by a couple hours. Still good. Still worth watching if you never saw it. It's free. Still. I watched it the other night. I don't know how long it's going to be there. But Stu Redman was played by Gary Sinise. And he was East Texas. Arnett, Texas, where he's supposedly from, where he is. He has that southern flair about him, you know? And he was a good guy. He cared about the people around him. He was a good guy. And I don't see how the banker meshes with this. And, that's with him. Now, another character pair of characters is, who played Fran Goldsmith? Who is she? She was a real nasty bitch, man. I mean, Harold, we know about Harold, and Colin Nimick played him great in the first made-for-TV movie. He portrayed him as basically, he was a nerd. He wasn't a bad kid. He was just awkward, and he wanted to be cool. And sometimes he tried too hard. And, he had the greasy hair, and he tried to dress nice, but it looked awkward on him. But he wasn't conniving. He wasn't peeping through fence holes to look at Fran. He would go right up to her. I mean, he would go down, although as nervous as he was, he does ask her out. He writes poetry for her. And she was a nice kid. Harold was turned by Randall Flagg. We'll get to that. But Fran Goldsmith, knew that Harold had this huge crush on her. But she wasn't nasty to him. She didn't talk down to him. She accepted his stuff, and she was very cordial. You know, he asked her out on a date, and you know, she kind of turned him down. She was going somewhere else, whatever. But she made excuses. She didn't yell at him. She didn't treat him like crap. And I mean, there was one point, which was one of the greatest scenes of this original series, the original movie, where she's sewing up her dad in his death shroud while she's singing Amazing Grace. It was very touching. But she's trying to get him down the stairs, and Harold shows up, and she's crying, and she asks him to help her bury her father. I mean, in the new one, she's like, no, get away, go away. What is that? See, Fran and Harold at that time were good people. They were good people. And they acted like good people. He wasn't, Harold Waller wasn't a nasty guy. He wasn't a conniver. Like this wimpy guy they have doing it now. I was like confused. What is this? So, you know, and the soundtrack for the original was great. I mean, there's great songs. I mean, they're all, it's dated now. Like a lot of you younger people maybe weren't familiar with the music, or you just didn't like that kind of music. It's out of your genre right now. But, you know, Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult was actually the song throughout, the main song throughout the whole movie, like the bumper music around. And if you look at the words, it was Blue Oyster Cult, Don't Fear the Reaper. Great tune. And now, I'm getting back to Harold and Fran Goldsmith. After they bury her father, they're sitting around in her living room, and they're talking. They're being cordial. They're being friendly. And he has this plan that they said they got to leave Ogunquit, where they're living now, because there's nobody there. And Harold, who's very smart, is saying to her, "Look, let's go find other people." Or his plan was to go to the CDC in Atlanta to see what's going on there. That was a good plan, and she bought it. And she says, "Fine, let's do it." And she brings down a little record player. You know, they played the records. I'm sure you know what that is. But, you know, you have to turn the handle. You don't need electricity because there was none available. You turn the handle and it builds up the electricity and it plays. And they play, and she plays a song by Crowded House called, how's it called? Don't Dream It's Over. If you don't know that song, go listen to it. You'll see how icy the sound is, and the lyrics. You listen to the lyrics, and it pretty much is. That's the setup for them. Eventually, Harold gets turned by what's her face, Nadine, who actually brings him over to the dark side, because Randall Flagg is getting into his dreams, and he wants him, and he's the one who's going to protect Nadine and bring her to him. That's what his usefulness was. He bought into it, and fine, whatever. I don't want to go into details with that because, you know, for the new one, I don't care. I'm just talking about characters. You got, there was one mistake that really annoyed me. I mean, Whoopi Goldberg playing Mother Abigail, well, that's fine. I mean, I guess she could pull it off. I don't think there's any problem with that. But she tells someone in a dream to come to Hemingford home in Colorado. And I was scratching my head on that. Hemingford home was supposed to be in Nebraska, not Colorado. So you're changing, you know, what are you changing it for? What is the idea of changing it for? I don't understand. I don't get it. Anyway, my biggest pet peeve, though, honestly, one of my favorite characters from the original movie was Larry Underwood. I love that character, and Adam Stork played him great. He played him great. And the thing I'm saying, that character was a conflicted character. I mean, if you read the book, I mean, they didn't transfer everything from the book into the original movie, but basically, this is a guy, very talented guy, who's a musician, and he writes this song. He writes this song, "Can You Dig Your Man," which blows up, and it started climbing up with the charts, and he was going to get famous. He was on the brink of getting famous. He had a record deal, and what happened with him was apparently he took all this money in advance, and he lost his mind because he was kind of a flighty guy. He went where the wind blew, and he got all this money. It wasn't a lot, but in advance he buys a car he couldn't really afford, but he buys it anyway. He rents a beach house, and all these people come in like pretending to be his friends, and he's wasted. He's doped up, and he's drunk, and he didn't realize that he was buying all this cocaine, and he had this drug dealer on hand who was keep filling the Coke bowls, and he ended up and his friend who pulls him out of this mess sits him down, smacks him around, and says, "Wake up. You're in a hole that you got to get out of. You don't see what's going on." Finally, Larry takes his advice, and this, when they go back to him, he's back in New York. From California, he's back in New York. He goes to his mother's house, somewhere in Queens or Brooklyn, wherever it was. And she's like, "Okay, you finally decided to show." He wasn't a bad guy. He was just flighty. But he was a good guy. And he's talking to his mother. The best line was, he says, "I'm going up, man, Mom, because I'm going to be a star." He goes, "My song just is number 21 on the charts with the bullet. Bang!" I was like, that was the greatest line of the whole movie. But he's a conflicted character. He's on his way to the top, and he hit rock bottom. And now when he's on the way to the top, and he knows eventually he's going to score, the whole country goes away. So that's what I like. And now I see this, the Larry Underwood now, this guy is a musician who's still playing a little bars, and his best friend that actually saved him in the novel is the guy. Apparently the thing is that Larry stole this song from him. What? So you turn Larry into a bad guy, into a piece of junk, a piece of dirt, by stealing songs of somebody else and trying to get famous from it. I mean, no. See, this is my point. The whole thing is just this ruined for me, because this novel was about good versus evil. I mean, you got good. Mother Abigail represents godly, the God deity, basically, or she talks to God, as she says. And Randall Flagg plays the devil. It's the demon, the bad guy. And they're fighting for the soul of the people. They're fighting for the fate of humanity. It goes beyond country and world. There's a fate of humanity. And you turn these good people into shills? For what? You change the whole theme of this show, of this movie, to what end? I hear they changed the ending. I don't even care, to be honest with you. I don't even care. From what I saw, I don't even want to know. I mean, and the original started from the beginning. The original started from the beginning with Campion. Just, you see video of the whole, the scene is on this military base. You see all this, and all of a sudden you hear the horn, beep, 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 beep. And Campion shows up. What's going on? It escaped. This escaped. You got to lock it down. You got to close the gates. And he freaks out. He goes and gets his wife and kid and leaves. And went from wherever it was in California all the way down to Texas, spreading this virus to everywhere he stopped. That was exciting. This started in the middle. The new one started in Colorado. And the abandoned church, which was actually the same kind of scene that was in the original movie, and they had to show these these people dead with maggots all over. Unnecessary. Unnecessary. But I don't know what to say. Another one. Lloyd Hendrick, he was a dirtbag. He was a killer. He was a stone-cold killer. There was no two ways about it. His friend Poke, pokerize him. We're going to pokerize him. They were in it together. I mean, what's his name? Hendrick was, he was a bad guy. Lloyd Hendrick was a bad guy. In this, you're trying to be sympathetic because they say, oh no, just his friend was the killer, not him. No, no, no. Lloyd was a killer too. He's a bad guy. He's the first guy. This killer was the first guy that Randall Flagg recruits for his army. Does that make more sense? To me, it does. Anyway, what can I say? I'm just like disappointed. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I don't know if you agree or disagree. Let me know if you get a chance. Hit the like button if you like. And God bless you. Be good to one another. And I'll see you next time, okay? God bless you. Rock and roll.